How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? In this video, we are taking a look at, yes indeed, macOS Big Sur. So, Big Sur is a huge update to macOS for tons of different reasons, but in this video, we're going to be focusing on some of the differences between Big Sur and Catalina. You can see some comparisons between Big Sur and Catalina. And my biggest takeaway is that macOS Big Sur is definitely more iOS-like in the way it looks. Not necessarily the way it functions, but the way it looks is definitely heavily influenced by iOS. Let's talk about it, but first, a word from our sponsor. Clean My Mac X is an all-in-one utility that takes care of your Mac's health. It's a real-time macOS cleaner, performance monitor, malware remover, and so much more. Clean My Mac X makes it super easy to identify and remove gigabytes of hidden junk and instantly visualize your disk space with the Space Lens module. Clean My Mac X keeps your Mac running at top speed. It helps manage apps, keeps the ones that you need up to date, and removes unnecessary apps. It can also free up RAM and run maintenance scripts to keep your Mac running fast. Clean My Mac X is the perfect tool to prepare your Mac for the new version of macOS. It's available on the Mac App Store and on MacPaul's website. Go to macpaul.com/9to5 to get Clean My Mac X with a 30% discount today. So right off the bat, you're going to notice a lot different. Obviously, you heard that startup chime is back and in effect. That's so lovely to hear. But also during the initial setup, some of the accessibility options are very front and center, helping users with disabilities to get macOS set up. So we're going to start actually with Safari, because this is one of the biggest changes here in macOS Big Sur. So let's take a look at some of the new Safari features, starting with the customizable start page. This is so cool. So in macOS Big Sur, you can go in and customize various facets of the start page in Safari. And that includes your favorites, the privacy report, the reading list, all your iCloud tabs, and more. So all you need to do, you'll notice a little button in the bottom right-hand corner. You just click on that. That brings up this little window here, and there you can go in and enable or disable all those various features. You can even add your own background to the start page just like that. And you can go in and customize the background for the start page. I'm going to choose that, the macOS Big Sur wallpaper. I think that looks great. But like I said, you can go in and disable any of the features that you don't want to appear on the start page. Like I can disable favorites if I want to do that, although I'm going to keep favorites on there. So you can enable or disable frequently visited if you want to do that. Get your privacy report here. You can disable or enable that. Siri suggestions, your reading list, and of course your iCloud tabs. I kind of like it like that actually. You can disable or enable the wallpaper or the background as well, but I think that right there looks ace. What do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comment section. I love just that simple, clean look with just your favorites there. Let's go ahead and remove those iCloud tabs. I don't think I want those on there, so let's go back in here and uncheck that. Yes, just like that. So anytime you open a brand new page in Safari, just Command N, it's going to look just like that. So you get this simple startup page with a nice background ready to go. Now Safari, just like the iOS version, also has improved performance. In fact, Apple says that Safari loads frequently visited websites 50% faster than Chrome. And we already know Chrome is horrible for power efficiency, but now Safari is even better. So you can stream video for up to 3 hours longer with Safari, or browse the web for up to an hour longer when compared to Chrome or Firefox. Now, favicons and tabs aren't new in Big Sur. This actually was a feature in Catalina, but in Big Sur, they're enabled by default, and they're definitely less of an afterthought. They're integrated much better here in Safari, those favicon icons. And to go along with that, now you can actually see way more tabs at once in Safari, because the tabs actually are shrunk down to just show the favicon, and you could still scroll through if you have an extra long list. Now here's something really cool. You get website previews when you hover over a tab just like that. So just hover over and you get a nice preview of what that tab contains. So if you have a lot of tabs, that's going to help out big time, because you don't actually have to click it. You just get a quick preview. If it looks like something you want to look at, give it a click and you're there. So you can really see how, like I said, tabs are less of an afterthought. They are more integral in Safari for Big Sur than they ever were before. So this makes a huge deal when browsing the web. You have a lot of tabs open, easily preview those tabs thanks to this new feature, and it's super handy. Now, speaking of handy, we finally have built-in native translation capability in Safari on the Mac. In my opinion, this has been one of the greatest deficiencies for Safari in the past, and that has finally been addressed. It's also been addressed on iOS as well, but you can just simply click and it will translate a web page just like that. And for me, that's just one more reason not to, or to resist the temptation to install Chrome. I always use Chrome for translations. Now I don't have to worry about that at all because it's built right in natively in Safari for Big Sur. And just like the iOS version of Safari, you now get a privacy report for every website to track cross-site trackers blocked. And you can do this on an individual website basis, but you can also pull up the privacy report to show you what every website is doing. So you can view by website to see which trackers are used on each website, or you can view by tracker. So this just helps you to get a good idea of what's actually going on with your web browsing. And you can get this privacy report displayed directly on the start page. So like we showed you earlier, you can enable that right there on your start page and get your privacy report that way. Really cool. Now let's talk about the Maps app, because it's a brand new app. It's actually one of 8 native Mac Catalyst apps, which are a version of the iPad app that runs on the Mac. It's been customized to take advantage of Mac features, but the core functionality was already there on the iPad. So now you get the new guides functionality there, which gives you guides from various partners like Lonely Planet, things like that. Now you also have your own individual guides that you can go in and create based on your favorite locations. So I've done that. So it's really cool because all the functionality that you enjoy on the iPad version of Maps is going to be here on Maps for Big Sur. And that's a good thing because let's be honest, the Maps app on macOS Catalina just wasn't all that good. It was missing so many features like guides, like Look Around, for instance. Look Around's that sort of Google Street View like feature, which is super cool and actually is better than Street View in some respects as far as speed and things of that nature. It's a very impressive feature that you now get on macOS Big Sur, thanks to the fact that it's a Catalyst app, it's an iPad app running here on the Mac, customized for the Mac. So you can also move around this little pair of binoculars there and have your little picture-in-picture window with your look around view. Now you also get cycling directions in this latest version of Maps, just like you do on the iOS version. So when enabling navigation, you just simply click the little cycling icon and that will give you all the details that you need to know, such as elevation. You can even go in and change up the various options to avoid things like stairs or hills, things of that nature. So this is really cool if you live in a city that has cycling support built into Maps. Now you also get indoor maps, so you can view here, LAX. And now let's talk about yet another new Catalyst app, Messages. No longer is it super limited when compared to the iPad version. Now you can do things like set pinned messages. You just simply drag up your thread to the top, or you can swipe and then enable the pin. So you can pin your messages at the top, those that you frequently are in contact with. And right there on the pinned message, you'll see incoming notifications for messages that are sent to you, and you'll see the little avatars move around based on who's sending those messages. It's really cool, and I love having those pinned messages at the top for my frequently used contacts. It just makes a lot of sense. And now this is available here on macOS, thanks to Catalyst, because the previous Messages app was pretty pathetic when compared to the iPad or iOS version. And you also find a now typing indicator on your message threads, and also in the pinned messages as well. So that's really cool. And you have enhanced search, so that's going to make it easier to find links and find photos. You even have a little avatar of who sent you the photo there to make it easily identifiable. Just going to search for another here. Let's search for, there we go, activity monitor. So you could see, click on that, takes you right to the message. Super simple, super easy. So as expected, it works very similar to how the iPad version works here in Messages for Big Sur. And now with this new updated Messages app, you can also share your name and photo just like you can on the iOS version. So that's a nice feature for parity, feature parity with the iOS and iPadOS. And the same new feature that you found in iOS 14, now you can also rename and add a picture to your group messages. So I'm going to name this Cool Cats. So I'm going to need a picture that really fits the bill. Of course, you can use emoji. You can also use an emoji. So we're going to use an emoji. So I'm just going to click the plus sign here and find the cat emoji. And there we go. So you can choose your background color as well. Click on done. And that's it. So now you have Cool Cats with the cat emoji in tow. And just like on iOS 14, you also have inline messages. So you can right click and select reply and reply to a message that was sent earlier that's going to appear in line. You have a link directly to that message. So you just click and you can see the context there as to which message you're responding to. And yes, indeed, you finally have effects available in Messages for the Mac. So that means you can go through here and add your favorite effects that we're all used to seeing on iOS. I'm going to use the balloons here. Just click and you can send that, and that appears on either your iPhone or on your Mac, whatever the case may be. You also have images access. So all your GIF animations, thumbs up for the right pronunciation of the word GIF. Yes, you can put in your favorite cat animation and send it to your friends. What's better than that? I mean, seriously. Let's go ahead and send this guy. There we go. And in macOS Big Sur, you have the ability to edit Memoji and also send Memoji stickers. So let's go ahead and go into the edit for Memoji. So you can go in and create your own oh man, I always have a hard time saying that. You can go in and create your own Memoji avatar and customize it to your heart's content. So let's go in here and find the new face covering. That's what we're looking for. So I'm gonna scroll down. Where is that guy? I think it's in headwear. Scroll down. There it is. Everything's loading in still. There's our face covering. So we're gonna find something that looks good and appropriate. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna speed this up for you guys so you're not waiting on this. All right, so now here are all of our stickers. So we can just simply send a sticker like that, or you can drag a sticker and pin it to a message. So I'm gonna show you how to do that here as well. Just simply click and drag on top of a message and pin your sticker just like that. And in Messages for Big Sur, you'll find the updated photo picker, which allows you to quickly access and share your recent photos and albums. So here we go. You can also go in and search. So we'll just click on one of our photos or videos or whatever the case may be. You could add that right to your message. And you'll also find mentions here in Messages for Big Sur. So this will make it so that you receive a notification if your name is mentioned, even if your message thread is muted. Now let's talk about another Catalyst app, that is Voice Memos. It's not a new application here on the Mac, but it does get some new features like being able to favorite, for instance, as you can see there. So I can favorite my favorite voice memos. That was kind of weird. All right, so that will add it directly to your favorites. You can delete as well. And that's going to basically set up a smart folder, which contains all of your recently deleted items as well. There's also an Apple Watch folder for all of your items that are created on Apple Watch, a smart folder. And you can also create your own custom folder. And yes, thank you. I know I say folder weird, F-O-W-D-E-R. There's also enhanced sound, or enhanced recording, I should say, which will automatically reduce background noise and room reverb with just a single click of the Enhance button. In the new Reminders app, you can now assign out reminders to shared reminder lists. So you just click the Info button and next to Assign To, choose your assignment. Great, so now I have to test burgers. And in the updated Reminders app, you can create personalized lists with emoji. So let me show you how that works here. So we're just going to go in and edit this one. All right, so you see the name, you can name it, of course. There's more icons to choose from, but the really cool thing here is the ability to select emoji. So you can choose any of the emoji, give it a name. You can give it a color if you choose a symbol, not an emoji. So just keep that in mind. So there you go. Jeff's crazy list of ideas. Yeah, there's going to be some insane stuff in there. You can also organize smart lists. There's also a new Assign to Me section in your smart lists. But here you can go in and organize those as you see fit. So you just drag to the location you want them to be. Pretty simple. And there's new keyboard shortcuts. So you can go in and manage your reminders list using a variety of new keyboard shortcuts available here. So if you go to the view window, you can show smart lists, show completed, things like that. Just like in iOS 14, the podcast app gets a revamped Listen Now section. It makes it easier to resume the next episode in your queue. And the Notes app gives you top hits in search. So I'm going to search for exposure, and you'll see your top hits at the top, right? I mean, it makes sense. It's called top hits for a reason. And there's new quick styles. So this allows you to do things like bold, italicize, underline, and strike through. And just like on iOS 14, the Music app has been updated with a new Listen Now page that replaces the old For You page. This is where you go to find all of your recently played items, find your top picks, and learn about new tracks that Apple Music thinks you may like. And there's also an improved search with new browse categories. So this allows you to jump directly to a genre of your choice, just like that. And now you can find all the latest jazz right there at your fingertips. The Home app gets a significant update. Again, this is a Catalyst app. And just like on iOS and iPadOS, this thing has been updated significantly with new features like the new status view at the top. There's also face recognition for cameras, HomeKit secure video cameras, that is. So you can go into the settings here and then go into facial recognition, and you can set that up to recognize faces when your friend comes and rings the doorbell to tell you, hey, this person is at your door, instead of just a person. It'll tell you who it is. So here you also get activity zones. So you can set up different zones. And this is just a terrible photo, but it was at nighttime when I got this snapped. And so yeah, you can go in here for your HomeKit secure video cameras, set up different zones so it only notifies you when things get inside or either outside if you invert those zones. So it's a super handy new feature. And in the App Store's Apple Arcade, you get the ability to continue playing where you left off. So all of your latest games that you've played before will be presented there for you. And you also find details on various achievements right there on the Apple Arcade tab. And in individual games, you'll find more details on achievements as well. So you can see what achievements are actually available for that particular game prior to even playing it. But it doesn't stop there, of course. Once you're actually in the game, you can go into the achievement section and the leaderboards as well to view details on those things. And you'll find updated info for the apps in the App Store at the top. You'll find things like file size, developer, whether or not it supports controllers. And just like iOS 14, Big Sur will support shared in-app purchases for developers that opt into that. That's for family sharing, so that's really awesome. And one of my favorite iPad features now comes to Big Sur. In the Photos app, you now have enhanced video editing, so you can go in and not just trim a video, but now you can really get your hands dirty. You can go in there, add filters, you can crop, you can add all sorts of adjustments here, so you can change the color intensity, the saturation, exposure, but not just the high level stuff. You can go in there with the low level stuff, change it up, highlights and shadows, all that goodness. It's no longer just for photos. You can do all this with videos as well, non-destructively. So while apps like Final Cut Pro 10 are obviously going to be what you want to use for more advanced stuff, if you just need to quickly fix something, Photos app is where it's at. Now let's talk about some of the differences in system preferences. So let's go ahead and start with General. Now, first of all, you're going to notice a lot of the icons are different. And under General, you're going to see Accent Color now has a new option or a new radio button. That very first radio button almost makes it appear as if you can select or customize your own color. However, it doesn't really appear to do anything right at this second, that very first selection. That would be cool because you don't really have too many accent colors and highlight colors to choose from, but being able to customize or using like a color wheel to select your own accent color would be awesome. But right now you can see the accent versus the highlight color. When you change the accent, it automatically changes the highlight color to that color, but you can also go in and change the highlight color independently. And the highlight color is where you highlight the text, and that's what you see in that text document. It'll be interesting to see how Beta 2 works with regard to that first radial button for accent color under General. Another change you'll find is that Preferred Tabs is now under the General section instead of the Docs section. And what this basically does is allow you to force a new document window to open up in a tab instead of a new window if you set it to always or when in full screen. So I set it to always, so even when I'm not in full screen, when I open up a new window in this document for numbers, it automatically opens up a new tab. Now, let's talk about desktop and screensaver settings. Not a lot's changed here, but you do have two new beautiful wallpapers, one dark, one light, and you can configure it to automatically switch between light and dark mode and vice versa based on time of day, or you can just choose the static light mode or the static dark mode wallpaper. Either one looks pretty good to me. What do you guys think about the new Big Sur wallpaper? Let me know down below. Now you'll find several new accessibility changes and features here in Big Sur. So we're going to open up accessibility and system preferences. You get the nice overview. And then if you go to where it says spoken content, now the speak typing feedback is now under a spoken content section. This same option used to be under a section called speech. Now what this does is it will speak what you type with your keyboard. So it'll speak individual letters and words like this.
H-O G-F Jeff space H.
That can definitely be helpful for those visually impaired, for sure. And accessibility in general is just one of the hallmarks of Apple devices, whether it be iOS or Mac. It's just amazing that the amount of attention to detail Apple pays to this sort of thing, and it's wonderful. Under voice control, you'll now find the numbered grid. This is a feature already available in iOS 13. But when you enable this, it creates a grid on the screen and you can speak each number to zoom in to those specific parts and navigate around macOS using only your voice, which is super cool. And like I said, just another example of the attention to detail and just caring about making macOS accessible to everyone, or as many people as possible at least. Now you also have shortcuts, and there's a couple of new shortcuts: increase contrast and reduce transparency. Now under security and privacy preferences, you're going to find several new panels here under the privacy tab. So let's scroll down here. You'll find Apple advertising has replaced the standard advertising section regarding personalized ads. There's also a new Bluetooth section to manage app access to Bluetooth devices. There's also a HomeKit section, so apps that request HomeKit data, get that here. And there's media and Apple Music. And if you go to sound preferences, now you already heard it at the very beginning, but there's the startup sound. You can enable or disable that right here from sound effects under sound preferences. And you get all new, yes indeed, all new alert sounds. Let's listen in. What's your favorite new sound? Let me know down below in the comments section. And there's new battery preferences. So this replaces the energy saver preference in older versions of macOS. So you have your usage history, shows you your last 24 hours or last 10 days, similar to what you'll find on iOS. Now obviously this will only be for Apple laptops since those are the only Mac computers that have batteries. Then you also have battery, and you'll find some cool options here to optimize video streaming while on battery and optimize battery charging. Similar to what you find on an iPhone, for instance. And then you can go into battery health and get details on battery health, just like you can on iOS. So when you click battery health, you'll see the maximum capacity. You'll also see the ability to view your battery condition. Mine is normal, and manage battery longevity. Okay, to schedule various events like to start up your computer or shut it down or put it in sleep mode, you'll find a new dedicated schedule tab. And in date and time preferences, the clock now says menu bar clock. Just a small little detail there that I thought was interesting. Now there's also startup disk preferences. Nothing's really changed here, but you see the UI, the icons in particular are much larger for the disk. All right, so let's talk about the dock and menu bar, because this has really changed a lot. So previously you had just dock. Now it's combined with dock and menu bar. So you have all your regular dock settings. Nothing really has changed in there too much, although the automatically hide and show menu bar option is now out of general and now it's in here, which makes sense given the fact that it's called dock and menu bar. And the menu bar is now updated as well. It's taller, much more translucent, allowing your desktop picture to extend edge to edge. It just looks so much better. It doesn't look like this tacked on like afterthought as much. Now it feels like it's a part of your desktop altogether. I'd be much less tempted to hide the menu bar here in Big Sur when compared to Catalina and before. But what's interesting about the dock and menu bar preferences is that you also have Control Center in there as well. So Control Center isn't its own dedicated thing. It lives inside dock and menu bar for whatever reason. That's how Apple set it up. So Control Center is just like you find on iOS, well, relatively similar. This allows you to go in and control various aspects of your computer. So you can change the brightness, you can change the display brightness, the volume, you can toggle Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, AirDrop. So you can go in there, choose how you want to configure AirDrop. You can set it to everyone. You can toggle AirDrop off completely and then just click, and that takes you back to the main Control Center panel. And that's how the whole thing works in general. You just simply click to get back to the previous level. It's very iOS-like in some regards. So you can see all the various options here. And what you'll notice is that you can show these items in the menu bar as well. So you can turn that on or off, and basically it breaks it out of Control Center. It also still keeps it in Control Center, but it allows you to quickly access directly those specific items from the menu bar without having to go any levels into Control Center. So that's kind of a nice feature. And of course, you can drag items from Control Center to the menu bar if you wish to do so as well. But what's kind of interesting is that you get options in the menu bar that you normally wouldn't get in previous versions of macOS, like keyboard brightness, things like that. So that's kind of cool. There's also some other features like accessibility, shortcuts. You can customize the battery to show in menu bar, show in Control Center, or disable both, or enable both, or enable show percentage, or disable show percentage, however you want to do it. There's also fast user switching, which allows you to quickly switch between multiple users if you have more than one configured. And there's, of course, Spotlight and Siri, neither of which are found in Control Center. They are menu bar items only. So here is the now playing item. You click that to view it, and you can fast forward, pause, play, click the album artwork to load the app. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear that there's any sort of AirPlay 2 controls built in here like you will find on iOS. And like I said, you can actually drag items from the Control Center up to the menu bar like I just did with the Now Playing interface. And of course, Notification Center is here in macOS Big Sur. So you go into the notification preferences here. And for the individual items in Notification Center, you'll find the ability to show previews always, when unlocked, or never. And then also there's notification grouping as well, which is super cool, right? Something I've definitely desired for a long time. So there you go. You have quite a few HomeKit notifications, but they're grouped. Like notifications are grouped together, so you're not inundated with just this long list of notifications. So you can expand and collapse if you want to. And then all your widgets are below. You can easily drag those around to customize your widgets. And these widgets are similar to what you'll find on the new iOS 14. You can right click and select different sizes, so small, medium, large. You can go in and edit the widget, and that way you can change the location, for instance, here on the weather app, or the weather widget, I should say. So I'm going to put in a location where I know it's raining right now because I want to show you the next hour precipitation. So this gives you a minute by minute chart that shows the intensity of the rain or snow over the coming hour. That is really cool, something that Apple took from Dark Sky. Of course, they acquired Dark Sky not too long ago, and we can expect probably more features to be integrated over time. Now, you also have the widget browser. This is where you can go to view all your widgets here. Not as many as you'll get on iOS. Conspicuously missing is news, also Siri suggestions and things of that nature. But you can select a widget category or just directly search if you want to do that. All right, so here's a watch list. You can just drag and release. Hit the minus sign to delete, change the size, either after the fact or before the fact. Pretty cool. So you just click the time, that reveals your notification center, the combined notification center with your notifications and your widgets. Now, talking about some of the aesthetics of macOS Big Sur, you get more spacing between different elements or different items in menus, which is interesting. Makes you wonder, will we ever get a touchscreen Mac? Because that's obviously going to be more ideal for a touchscreen interface to have more space for your fingers. So these little menus are a little bit larger than what we find on previous versions of macOS. Not to say that that's actually going to happen, but just interesting. There's also redesigned sheets like this one right here that have been completely updated to remove borders, bezels, to put the focus directly on the content. And there's a redesigned floating dock that is more translucent, that allows your wallpaper to shine through, similar to how the menu bar is translucent, allows the wallpaper to shine through as well. And the icons, as you can see, are very much iOS-like in appearance. I mean, very much iOS-like, and let's talk about that right now. Many of the icons are basically direct interpretations of the icons you find on iOS and iPadOS. So in some cases, they're exactly the same, but in a lot of cases, they have their own macOS aesthetic, keeping those stylistic touches and the details that give the Mac its character. For example, look at the Mail app icon. Looks very similar to the Mail app icon on iOS, but notice, get the Apple Park address there. The icons have more texture, they're less flat, but some of those icons, like keychain access, are just terrible in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think about that. Let me know down below in the comments. And just overall, there are lighter windows here on macOS. Sorry, the planes in the background, but here on macOS Big Sur, lighter windows. You have more rounded windows, and makes me think, hey, are we going to see an updated iMac or an updated MacBook Pro with rounded bezels, sort of like the iPad Pro? I don't know. I mean, just interesting to think about considering this new design. And you also get more uniform, full height sidebars, which give you a nice updated look. You get more space on the sidebar because it goes from top to bottom. And to go along with that, you get unified symbols that bring clarity and consistency across applications. So these symbols just look much better than the symbols in previous versions of macOS where they were just kind of all over the place. Now you get some much needed consistency. For instance, the compose button, which you'll find in apps like Notes, you'll find in apps like Mail as well, and other applications. Well, that compose button is going to be the same across all those apps, and the same thing goes for all the little icons that are shared across multiple applications, bringing that much needed consistency to macOS. And then there are going to be faster software updates. Software updates will begin in the background and complete faster than before to keep your Mac secure, and it just won't take as long to update macOS, which is notorious for how long it takes. And the system volume in Big Sur is signed to protect against malicious tampering. So it seems like each year Apple adds yet another layer to its security. First they had SIP, then they had having the data volume separate from the system volume, and now we have cryptographically signed system volumes. Indeed, macOS becoming more secure with each new release. And a few other new features. You get faster, more responsive Spotlight search, so you'll get your results faster than ever before as soon as you start typing. And Spotlight will present all the results in a streamlined list to make it easier to find the exact search result that you're looking for. So that can be an app, a document, a website, etc. And then finally, Spotlight is also integrated into the Find menus for apps like Safari or Pages or Keynote. So here with Safari, I can change the search parameters from begins with, which is going to be more specific, to contains, which is much more broad. So ladies and gentlemen, that has been a look at over 85 different changes and features in macOS Big Sur. If you found this video helpful, let other people know by leaving a thumbs up, and also click that subscribe button for more videos like this. This is Jeff with 9to5Mac. Special thanks to MacPaul, creator of Clean My Mac X, for sponsoring 9to5Mac. Clean My Mac X is the perfect tool to keep your Mac running in tip-top shape and to prepare it for the newest version of macOS. Along with real-time malware monitoring, you can use the handy Space Lens tool to instantly visualize and clean up your storage. Clean My Mac X is available on the Mac App Store and on MacPaul's website. For a limited time, go to macpaul.com/9to5 to get Clean My Mac X with a 30% discount.